Coach, what do you take away from the Robert Morris game? What were your concerns with that, now that you got a chance to kind of watch the tape?
I don't know. I just feel like there's, we could be a lot. Obviously we could play a lot better. I don't think we played up to our potential in any phase of the game. We made enough mistakes, in every phase to cause problems, and that you saw the result. And just got to be more efficient, and have a higher level of execution. But I'm not saying that there were some positives in there, but I didn't feel we played well in a number of areas. In a couple areas we did play well, but there's a lot more out there for this team, and we're looking at a couple tweaks personnel-wise that we're gonna explore during the week here in practice, and just keep working to get better. I'm learning a lot about this football team, and every week's kind of an evaluation, and see where we are and see what we got to do to get better.
What were the positives?
I think the kids, what I didn't see is anybody pointing fingers or doing anything like that. We kept playing, and we didn't always play smart or execute very well in some areas. We obviously struggled offensively in the first half, and we weren't able to turn the field over. So we struggled in our punt game early on, which hurt us, and then we had a misfit, a bust, and a missed tackle on the long on the touchdown run on the first play of the game defensively, and we got to coach that better, and the first half it seemed like it was over in a heartbeat. It was really one play by them, and then next thing you know, that the half's over, and we had a lot of opportunities to make some plays offensively. We had some drops, and obviously we put the ball on the ground on the second play of the game. So, it was kind of a perfect storm. We didn't, when you're in a game like that where it's kind of going that way, you got to make a play to change the momentum. We weren't able to make a play to kind of turn it over and change the momentum of the game.
Well, you talked about some tweaks in personnel. Any more specifically, or areas of?
No, I'm not going to get into specifics on that, Dana. I mean, but we'll see how the week plays out, and looking for our best combinations in some areas, and figuring out. Like I said, I'm still learning a little bit about this football team and this group, and what we need to do going forward to make us a better football team, and so we're exploring a number of different options.
Xavier Hartman afterwards said that maybe the focus wasn't there for Robert Morris that it was for Pitt. Did you sense that at all?
I didn't sense that. I thought I liked our guys' approach going into the game. I don't think that anybody I didn't think we were as good in practice on Tuesday. I thought Wednesday was a really good practice, and I thought Friday we had good attention to detail. We just didn't. There was a guy here, a guy there. That's what football is. It wasn't like one. You can point to one specific area or one specific guy. It was, leaking off of blocks. Where we could have had a couple big plays, and a guy from the backside where we should have finished a block comes off and tackles us, and obviously some drops, and it was just the little things here and there. And they catch up to you when the game's going the way that is. Your margin of error is pretty small, and defensively, we settled down after that first play, and I don't know, it was maybe 5 or 6 3-and-outs in a row, and then you get into that. I think it was the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, when they got their one extended drive, and we had a couple guys miss fits, a couple missed tackles. We leaked. Where we let up too much leaky yardage in that drive, where we should have been 2nd and 10, and one time we should have been off the field. They run a draw, and it was kind of a ridiculous mistake where we let them get a first down, and those things happen. And next thing you know, they put a little drive together, and you're down. And those things can happen. And some of it's just, there's no real excuse for it. And at the end of the day, we just have to coach it better. We have to, I put it on ourselves as coaches to get it coached better so we can execute at a higher level.
For back-to-back weeks now, you guys have had some trouble stopping the run. Is that just a product of growing pains with the new defensive coaching staff, or do you think it has to do with execution early in the season?
I think it's a combination of a number of things, but I don't worry about for a large part of the game, we did stop the run. The one long play was, like I said, we blitzed and you miss a gap and you got to tackle it for an 8-yard gain, and we missed a tackle. And but probably the biggest concern to me as far as stopping the run is the yardage after contact, or after where we're there, we make contact at the line of scrimmage, and instead of being 2nd and 10, it's 2nd and 5 because we miss a tackle, or because we put a huge emphasis on tackling. We do it every day, and we need to tackle better. And that's usually, sometimes you have that early in the season, but that needs to get better.
I know there's obviously a lot of things that go into the passing game, but to my eyes, Hunter hasn't played well, even going back to last season, than he did maybe in his first few games. What have you seen?
I thought it was a tough night as far as, I don't think we played well around him at times the other night in the passing game, but obviously some drops and things hurt us, and we get complete a long, a fairly long one down the field, and we're in motion, and so some things happened that probably didn't play well around him. He missed a couple throws. He missed, one 3rd down throw, and one where he probably on a 3rd down late in the game where he probably should have taken his check down, and we probably moved the sticks. So, he's still growing. He's still a young player. I think he's a very good football player, and he's, what I like about him is he's usually pretty accurate, and but you got to play well around the quarterback too, and at times, our protection broke down. One time we called the wrong protection, and we put the back on the defensive end, for instance, and when the back should have been out in the route. So because the back didn't get out on the route, his primary receiver, which the route would have been there, didn't, ended up being double covered because the back didn't get out. So it's little things like that are hurting us. Just, everything's got to be fine-tuned, and everyone's got to be on the same page. And, little things that you don't think would affect a quarterback did affect the quarterback. And that's really across the board. We have to really hit on all cylinders and have 11 guys doing it the way they're being coached to do it. And it's, like I said, at the end of the day, we got to coach it better.
Coach, it was a wild Saturday where teams that were supposed to win big, went to the wire and stuff. Not to say this was a wake-up call, but this maybe open some eyes of the players that we can't look at anybody differently than anybody else.
Yeah, I would hope they don't. But, that's a little bit of that's a maturity thing, and you got to have some maturity as a football team. And we talk to it and preach it. We try to be very. I've always been. I'm pretty consistent in my approach. I don't really change week to week according to who we're playing or where we're playing or anything like that, or saying this is a big game. I think that's all BS. Every game is big, and you have to be ready to play every week. You have to, that's the only way you can play this game, because otherwise you're gonna ride your ups and downs. And I don't think we're at that point, and I don't know if any team is at that point where they can just roll it out there and go play. You got to have respect for this game, because you need 11 guys hitting on all cylinders to get the level of execution you need to be a good football team.
How'd you guys come out of there injury-wise?
Pretty healthy, nothing long term. We should get a couple guys back this week that were out last week, and for the most part, we're in pretty good shape.
Is Martin okay? Because he's kind of been different last week.
A little bit. He's going to practice today, which is good. He didn't practice, Tuesday and Wednesday last week. He will practice today, but he's banged up a little bit, and it was really a kind of a carryover from the Pitt game. But he's a tough kid. I mean, I think it'll help him to get a week's practice, a whole week of practice in, but at the same time, when you're getting hit like those guys do at times and carrying the load in the running game, you got to take care of them during the week too. So, practice, but be smart about how we practice them.
St. Francis obviously has a pretty good running back who's back.
Really good running back.
What do you know about them, Coach?
I think they have good skill. I think they're fairly young up front, on both sides of the football. But they, has some experience there. But they have good running backs, good skill on offense, and a good secondary. They have good skill and guys that can run around and make some plays. So it'll be, I think it'll be a nice challenge for us. So we need to play well, and I'm not worried about what St. Francis does. I'm worried about us, taking care of us first. And but they will be a challenge. It's a different running back than we've seen probably the first couple weeks. He's a little bit more of a scat back, really quick, has great vision. Will cut. There are times you watch on film and you'd stop the film and you think it's going to be a 2 or 3 yard gain or a no gain play, and all next thing you know, he can make guys miss in a small area, which as for us, that's been an issue for us. We need to tackle better and really take our technique that we teach to the field. And that's an issue. At times, we tackled well the other night, and at times, we miss too much, and a lot of that just goes to fundamentals and technique, and carrying over the things you're doing in your drill work over when it's for real.
In the scheme of things, is that your biggest concern? Just maybe the fundamentals of tackling on defense?
Really, fundamentals everywhere. I think that's where you got to get better. And finishing blocks on the offensive side. You have a guy locked up early on, and you push him off, and that guy ends up making the tackle 12 yards down the field when it could have been maybe 35, 40 yards. Finishing plays in every area is a concern for me. And that's an attitude. And I don't know if we have that attitude yet to finish plays. And it's one thing being in the right spots or having the right assignment and taking care of your assignment, but do it with an attitude. And at times that attitude is lacking with this team right now. And you can't be satisfied with just doing your job. You have to do it, do more and finish, play with extraordinary effort and finish every play with extraordinary effort. And once again, we need to coach that better.
Coach, when you talk about Derek Rivers' play, because probably from a fan's point of view, it looked like he had a pretty big day. When you saw him on tape, how would you grade his performance?
I thought Derek played very well. It really didn't lend well to him having a real big day, because they max protected on third, especially on third down, and doubled both our ends the whole game. And I think they were a little bit nervous about our blitz package, and really the way the game went allowed them to do it. If we would have got out ahead and made them have to open it up a little bit, I think he could have had a very big day. But it didn't really lend to for a guy the way they played. They were going to run and be conservative, shorten the game, and max protect on third down. That's hard on an end when you got two guys. When they didn't double him, he made him pay for it. He's a good football player, obviously, and you know what? I think all our guys up front on defense are playing well. I really do. I think that defensive front is doing some good things.
What about offensively up front? I know there's a couple guys coming back there, but you have a new setter, and normally he makes a lot of calls. Do you think they're doing an okay job with the pressure, or is there areas that they can improve on?
There's definitely areas we can improve on. I like our offensive line, but that wasn't our best game. And I think there's a lot more out there for those guys. We need to play at a higher level on the offensive front, and not only talk about the offensive line, but the tight ends and really a couple times where you know, we were running wide and we had a receiver miss block or miss target the wrong guy or not read the coverage the right way. There were a lot of, I believe that football is you have to be good. To play well, you got to be good at the little things. And there were too many little things that added up to a lot of big things that hurt our football team.